know, during the summer, there's really nothing better than coming out in the garden and picking some fresh corn and taking it inside, cooking it, having it for a little barbecue or whatever. Corn is one of my favorite crops to grow. It's really fun because it's so satisfying to watch it grow, and like you can see it jump, you know, 3 or 4, even sometimes 6 inches a day. So it's rewarding to watch the corn grow, but it's even better when you get to eat it. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways to plant your corn, and we have some amazing varieties of corn at Anderson Seed and Garden, but my all-time favorite variety is Nirvana. So a couple different ways to plant your Nirvana corn, and I've got my Nirvana right here. It is a bicolor, super sweet corn. So basically when it's ready, and I've kept the raccoons out of it because the raccoons like to eat it as well too, you can go out there and you can harvest it and you can eat it like raw right out in the garden, and it tastes amazing. But as soon as you cook it and eat it, then you'll just go, oh, that's the best corn I've ever tried. You can freeze it, you can bottle it, you can eat it fresh. Great thing about Nirvana is it keeps its quality for a really long time. So if you harvest it and you can't eat it all, just refrigerate it and it will keep its quality like the same day that you pick it. It'll be the same type of quality as the day that you picked it for 2 weeks. So the Nirvana is amazing for the fact that the quality just holds and holds and holds for a long time if you take care of those cobs. So you can just leave them in the husk, put them in a bag, throw them in your crisper in the refrigerator. They will taste the same in 2 weeks as they would the same day that you picked them. So quite amazing. So the Nirvana, the trick to really being successful with your corn is to make sure and space your corn properly. So what we recommend is 2 seeds every 12 inches in the row, and then 3 to 4 feet between rows, depending on how many rows you're going to grow. So when we put those seeds in there, we're going to put 2, and then we go about 12 inches, and we're going to do 2 more, and then we're going to go 12 more inches, and 2 more, and 12 inches. So every 12 inches, we're going to put 2 seeds. That wasn't quite 12 inches, but it's close enough. And we're going to put 2 more right here. So 2 seeds every 12 inches, 3 to 4 feet between rows. If you don't put enough space between the rows, then the sunlight can't get down in between the rows and your corn won't produce. You'll have corn all the way around the outside where the sun's hitting it, but if your corn's packed too densely, there will be no corn production in the middle of your patch. And that's absolutely from not enough sunlight. So you got to make sure there's plenty of space in there. So at this point, we would do our entire row with our corn seed, and then all you got to do is just barely cover it up. So we want it to be about 1/2 inch to 1 inch below the surface. So we're just going to barely cover that up. And what I have done before we planted is I put down a high nitrogen fertilizer. Like ammonium sulfate is great because the corn likes the sulfur as well as the high nitrogen. You can use urea, you can use ammonium nitrate, anything that's really a high nitrogen fertilizer. That's what your corn really likes. So I spread that out over the whole garden, tilled that into the garden. So there's a good source of nitrogen to begin with. And then we're going to cover up our corn about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Then once it's covered up, we're going to run a soaker hose right down the row. So we'll run our soaker hose all the way down the row of corn, and we'll soak that. And it usually takes about 5 or 6 days. So our soaker hose will go down the row just like that. 5 or 6 days, we'll have corn popping up right out of the ground. So great way to start your corn. Soaker hose does a really good job saturating the soil, giving enough moisture to get that to germinate. And the warmer the soil is, the faster the corn comes up. So not too bad at all. The other way that we like to plant corn is with our corn planter. And this is an old-fashioned corn planter. We take our corn seed, dump it into the hopper here without spilling it all over the place. And what the hopper does is it holds the corn, and with this nifty little device, it will select the corn that you're going to plant and drop the seeds wherever you want them. So with this, when you open it up, it's going to drop corn seed down into the bottom where that little V is, and then you stick it in the ground, and then you close it up again, and it will drop the seed out. You're going to see the seed on the ground just like that. And then you go to your next location, and we'll drop more seeds right there. and you go to your next location, but we're going to stick it in the ground, and we can plant a whole row of corn in a very short amount of time with a corn planter like this. So what a great little device to do. The seeds get covered up as you go, drops 2 to 3 seeds in each location, and we do the same spacing, 2 to 3 seeds every 12 inches in the row, 3 to 4 feet between rows. And as the corn comes up and it gets about 12 inches tall, then we're going to side dress it with more nitrogen. So our ammonium sulfate is our straight nitrogen, 2100, at 12 inches tall, at 3 feet tall, and when it tassels. And when you do that and you give your corn plenty of nitrogen, the stalks will get really tall. It'll produce multiple ears per stalk. The ears will be full and like fill out all the way to the tip, and they'll be big. So not enough corn production. Corn ears are small, stalks are short, ears don't fill out all the way, not enough nitrogen. So make sure you side dress with a little bit of nitrogen, usually a teaspoon to a tablespoon for each cluster, at 12 inches tall, at 3 feet tall, and when it tassels. And if you do that, you'll have the best corn you've ever had. So a couple different ways to plant corn. A lot of great varieties at Anderson Seed and Garden. Make sure you use a little bit of nitrogen when you're planting, and also at those 3 important intervals when they're growing, and you'll have some amazing corn to harvest and enjoy throughout the summertime.